What's up guys, Lanius here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. In today's video, I'm going to be showcasing how to beat S24, so stage 24, hard mode Cursed City, the champions I utilized, a full walkthrough, and then just going over the different kits that I use and what sets you can use to best beat this stage. So let's get into it. Alright, so here we are running into S24 Awaken stage. So something to note is I do have all legendary champions. I've been playing this game for very close to 5 years now, 5 years coming in November 19th, 2024, free to play 100%. So of course you're not going to have all of these legendary champions potentially when you get to this stage in SOULCROSS hard mode, but hopefully you have some other options available to you, and I will go over a few different options that you can use to beat this stage effortlessly. So let's go ahead and watch this video. And basically, it's a lot of CC. I got ally attack. I have a damage dealer in the Brogni, and then I also have a damage dealer in Newt. So Newt was a fusion champion in the past, and of course, Arman's was an insane login champion. Or no, he was a fusion as well. So absolutely insane. Arman's was nasty. So if you didn't go for Arman's, this stage does become much harder, but it's not unbeatable. Of course, we've got, like, you do have, I think it's Vrasker Warlord to start. Now, the big hitter is going to be this chick right here. I forget her name, but she does hit very hard, a barbarian. She was also a fusion champion. And then, of course, you've got your Doom Tower champion, Thea, and then old but gold champions as well. So, essentially, the name of the game here is just CC, HP burn, damage with Brogni, damage with Newt, and then repeat the cycle. So most of the stages for hard Doom Tower, you're gonna require provoke sets and stun sets, or even daze set, which is for sleep. Most people don't use sleep set at all because the champions get woken up if they have other debuffs on them, like poisons or potentially HP burns. They will wake up a champion that has a sleep on them, which really sucks, but it is what it is. You gotta figure out other ways around it. Of course, if you don't want to go with HP burn on the enemies or poisons on the enemies, then yes, you could go with a daze set. It's just not nearly as strong as a provoke or a stun set. I do wish they updated the sleep set so that it was a little bit more viable, because nobody really uses it, and it could be so much stronger than it is. I do think that to make the daze set a little bit stronger, they should just simply make it a 40% chance to sleep the enemies. If they do that, the sleep set, or the daze set rather, would be very, very viable, especially for Cursed City hard mode. So we're going to kind of take you through here. We get to the next wave. Same thing applies. I'm stunning them. The one that you're going to be careful of the most is definitely going to be the Heffrack as well as the Cupidus. Cupidus and Heffrack hit extremely hard. And then if this Lanathral takes a turn and he does the ally attack with Cupidus, you are done for. So be very, very careful with the ally attack and with Cupidus. And you could just stun them as much as possible, CC them, you could even provoke, but preferably you'd want to stun them because you don't want the Cupidus to take a turn. Okay, he just hits way too hard. Going on to the last wave here, after we take them out, the last wave has Trunda, it has Goffrid, it has Yumeko, and then Yumeko's pairing duo. This dude's very strong as well. He is a samurai for the Shadowkin, and he hits pretty hard with Yumeko. And he places block active skills. You can't resist it. So you have to CC them as well, or provoke them. Provoke here is fine. They don't do nearly as much damage as the second wave. So once you get to this last wave, it's a lot easier. But you got to be careful of the Yumeko locking out all your skills. And if you get locked out of skills and you don't have very strong A1s on your champions, then you could potentially have some issues. But again, Arman's makes this stage so easy. It's just pathetic how easy he makes the stage. But if you don't have Arman's, I can go over some other support champions that you could utilize to try to beat this stage. So as time goes on, we end up beating it finally. And we end up getting ourselves a 6-star Legendary Chaos Ore, which was really nice. Our main damage dealer was actually Underpriest Brogni with 835k damage. And then Nuke coming into the second place with 605k damage, which is not bad. So now I'm going to go ahead and showcase to you the champions that I would suggest, and then we'll go over to the tavern and I'll go over the champion gear that I utilized on them. All right, so this is the Awaken stage here. So you do have to make sure you have at least 20 stars or 20 Awakening levels in total amongst all of your 5 champions. And so, of course, these champions were the best on my account, in my opinion, to utilize for this. If you want to use epics that are awakened, that's fine too. There's plenty of champs you can use for this because there's magic, spirit, defense, support, epic, legendary, and mythical, which is crazy for all of this. You know, so you have tons and tons of champions at your disposal. I could have used a Duchess. I could have used a Kyoku. I could have used a Tomb Lord, who is also extremely powerful here because he ends up placing the decreased defense and decreased attack on all enemies, places poisons. I could have knocked them all down with just Tomb Lord, basically doing most of the damage with the poisons. And once they get to half health, he actually depletes turn meter and gets an extra turn if turn meter is just decreased on anybody. So really, really strong. His aura is for Doom Tower, so it doesn't really help here, but he is very strong. You can also use Mishinaki. Mishinaki removes buffs. He also places decreased defense and decreased attack. He also places HP burns. He also does an adjoining attack potential at 50% chance if an enemy's under a hex. So super strong there as well. You could also use Ragash if you have him. Decreased defense, stun on the entire enemy wave. Super powerful for this Curse City stage. You can also use Ancora, another fusion champion for support. If you have Narcissus with her, then it'll make this wave extremely easy. You can also use Elva Autumnborn if you have her. Super good support champion. Ghostborn, decreased defense on all enemies. He could be your damage dealer, places heal reduction. You could even use Elegias. Not the best, but he does have block active skills. He does have block buffs on one enemy, and target skills go on cooldown, and that's really nice. And then any enemy that's duplicate also puts their skills on cooldowns. Super cool. Attacks all enemies. Chance of removing 2 random buffs. So he can be pretty strong. It also prevents his death on a passive here with accuracy by 60 in all battles. And then, of course, everybody's going to get Scylla the Drakes. So I highly recommend, if you don't have Armans, go with Scylla the Drakes. She is insane in a stun set or relentless set. Both of them are fine. But you want to make sure she has fully booked on the A2 so that she can get back to her stun mechanic as quickly as possible. She also places decreased speed on the enemies. She heals your allies. She's absolutely absurd. And then you got, of course, Molly Tankard, provokes everybody. You've got Gorgorab, increased speed, revives, increased attack on the entire team. You've got Duck the Pierce, decreased attack, decreased defense for a epic champion, provokes people. There's so many champions you can use here. Morag Bronzelock, great damage dealer, ally attack, strengthen and counter attacks as well. And then you've also got Anchorite, you've got Venomage, you've got Old Hermit. So many champions that you can utilize to beat this stage. Let's move over to the tavern and talk about those champs. All right, to talk about the first champion, we've got Lanius the Chosen. I've had this champion for a while. I also got her fully awakened, which is amazing. I think I got it from an Immortal or an Eternal Soulstone, which is really nice. I did have her in a more arena build with the Stone Skin 1 turn and as much speed as possible, so I do have protection set on her. She can also potentially protect buffs if she has enough of a protection set, but of course for me, I don't have the 4-piece. I only have a 3-piece because this piece right here has a triple roll, and I don't have another weapon piece for the protection set that has triple or quad roll speed, and I wanted to make sure she is as fast as possible. So she's at 303 speed, 180 crit damage. I did put her for damage as well. So I sacrificed a bit of speed for more damage, almost 5k on the attack. So she has pretty decent HP as well. No empowerments, but she does have, and not very much in Faction Guardians either, only 1 duplicate Faction Guardian. So she has tons of room for growth on my account. And then for Curse City, you take a look, 323 speed, 65k HP, 3000 defense, 198 crit damage. So she can do some damage. You don't want to count her out as a damage dealer because she can hit fairly hard on the A1. She's not the best, but she is strong. Of course, if you have lethal and savage and stuff like that, then I would recommend it for PvE, just not so much for PvP, unless she's like 300 50 plus speed in that set, because you really want to utilize her with like that cool blender comp that you can utilize with like her, Skullcrown, and Senesha. Now for masteries, I don't have her fully mastered, but I would recommend going for either the War Master or going with Helm Smasher for more damage. And I did go with support for her just to have more HP, potential chance with Cycle of Magic to reset the cooldown of skills, which is the ally attack, and Lore of Steel to boost some of the set bonuses, which is very nice. I don't have her fully booked, but it helps if she is fully booked. The ally attack is kind of what you want to be decreased for a cooldown to 4 turns instead of 5, but it's not really necessary. Also have her polymorph for me because she's 6-star. Again, I use her in Arena. So Lysandra is a high elf champion. I have her in a speed set. She's meant also for my Arena build. 363 speed, 309 accuracy, which is just enough. You need at least a 300 threshold on the accuracy for Curse City. If you can get a little more, awesome. Again, area bonuses are your best friend. You need to farm live arena. Farm it. Even if you just want to get the speed plus 20, you got to farm live arena. And she's at 383 for Curse City, 333 on the accuracy, 285 for the resistance. And then for masteries, I did go down with Eagle Eye on the support. Again, this is more of an arena build. I don't have any books in her, and I did use her with polymorph since she has to have accuracy in her kit to be able to steal the turn meter or deplete turn meter of a target. This one's nice because it increases the ally speed, fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, and decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 30% because you just don't want them to take a turn. She also has a speed aura of 24% in all battles, which is very, very strong. This is the man of the hour, Arman's absolutely nutty champion, insane for all content in this entire game, ridiculously overpowered for live arena and arena content in general, the man who everybody hates. This guy with the stun on all enemies and fully depletes their turn meter, which is disgusting, super overpowered. And then we've got the sheep ability mechanic if you needed it. However, you really don't need it. You can use it as needed to sheep one of those enemy wave champions so that they don't get a turn. For example, Cupidus. And then, of course, he also has a chance on the A1, fills a champion's turn by 10%, each turn added to the cooldown, and 35% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random active skill by 2 turns is disgusting. This guy's full kit is nasty. Plus 28% speed in arena battles. Put him in polymorph because that's the best for him for arena. I use him for live arena and classic arena and tag team. I went with the Eagle Eye at the bottom, Lore of Steel, also the Evil Eye to decrease turn meter as well on the A1. He is fully booked. I do recommend fully booking him. And it's not necessary though for PvE, but for PvP, if you're trying to focus on that and that's where you love in the game, then you're going to want to focus on getting him fully booked because he's just going to keep on cycling through the depletion of turn meter and stuns so the enemy just can't take a turn. I put him in 1 turn Stone Skin and Perception. It's not necessary. You can build him just with fast support, tankiness, and 300 plus accuracy, and you're good. For the next champion, we've got Underpriest Brogni. Underpriest Brogni is a damage dealer for me. I do have him in Savage and Perception. He does need accuracy in his kit for the A1 and for the A2. And so his total stats here, 222 speed, 251 crit damage, 3,700 on the attack, 3,500 defense, almost 60,000 HP, 342 accuracy, skills fully booked. I do recommend doing that, but you don't need to. Cruelty on the Blessing, 60 resistance, Doom Tower aura, so it's not going to work for Curse City. And then I went for Helm Smasher as the final tier 6 mastery and Retribution for defense. You do want to build him for damage. You don't want to build him for just support unless you absolutely have to. In that case, then I would recommend going with the big bolster set if you can help it. But mainly you want to use this guy for damage. He hits very, very hard on the A1 and on the A2 with a chance of removing a random debuff from all allies and chance of removing 1 random buff from all enemies. Super, super powerful. I don't really use him much in arena, but I mainly use him in PvE content, Faction Wars, and Curse City. Extremely powerful champion. Last but not least, we have Newt. Newt I recommend in a Relentless set, and if you can help it, Relentless set 4-piece and Merciless 4-piece. The reason why is Relentless offers an extra turn chance, consecutive chances reduced by 45%, which is fine. For PvE, that's okay. So for the Merciless set, why I say that you want to do a 4-piece is because of the fact that you could get a 30% chance to decrease a random skill cooldown by 1 turn when dealing damage, and he's always dealing damage on every ability, which means it's going to be great for any PvE content in the game, including Hydra, Clan Boss, Faction Wars, you name it. Dark Fae, insane. Also, I put on Brimstone for him. He's also insanely strong for Phantom Shogun Grove, insanely strong for Sand Devil as well. Masteries, I went with Flawless Execution to get as much crit damage as possible. However, you could go with Giant Slayer for PvE bosses. That's also very powerful. You could also go with Helm Smasher if you wanted to go for pure damage. Say this is like you're an early game account and you need a damage dealer, and Newt might be your man because he also places a counterattack buff on himself. So he'll just keep on counterattacking, depleting turn meter, and potentially freezing the enemy that is attacking you. But I would only recommend that for early, mid game, and some late game. Other than that, he's not really the PvP damage dealer. He's going to be mainly utilized in PvE. So fully booked, Brimstone, accuracy in dungeons is not going to work for Curse City. But again, stats are strong. 246 speed, 313 crit damage, 358 accuracy, 6,000 defense. This is my strongest Relentless set on my account. But again, if you go to Curse City, 266 speed, 331 crit damage, 382 accuracy. These stats are way overboard, in my opinion, for this stage. It's not necessary. You can go with 4K defense, 220 speed or 200 speed, and like 250 to 270 crit damage and be just fine. It's just the fact that you want to utilize him to CC the enemies with this ability and deplete their turn meter, as well as getting the counterattacks to keep on CCing those enemy waves. Newt is extremely powerful here. All right, so that's going to be it for this one, guys. Let me know what your thoughts and comments are down below in the comments section. For stage 24, Awaken stage for SOULCROSS Hard Mode Curse City, what champions did you utilize, and what champions would you recommend utilizing for those who just don't have the champions that I have? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll see you on a video soon. Take care.